Should teachers be paid based on student performance? Wow, this is controversial, and it's happening in Cincinnati. Public school teachers there have agreed to a new system that ties pay with student achievement. So, what do you think about this? Should all teachers be paid this way, or should teachers get paid the same no matter how the students perform?
That is definitely a tough one. I mean, you could be in a very wealthy school district and have fantastic teachers, or a poor district and horrible teachers. But if you don't have parents who are behind them and encouraging them to, do the work, how can you pin it all on the teachers is what I want to know.
Well, I worked in a state that did give incentives to teachers who went from poor performing schools to A performing schools, and it does give you some motivation. But at the end of the day, you don't need a lot of money in the classroom to be a great teacher. Just be a great teacher and award the students by giving them, good curriculum, a strong educator, and a role model to look up to. And there you go. It's a win-win.
That should be the motivation, right? Just to feed the kids' minds in and of itself. But not, teachers obviously should get paid more than they do, but it makes it very, very difficult when you're talking about, as Rebecca was mentioning, when you have these districts and the poor students who may not get the support at home from their parents. You also have students with learning disabilities, and there's only so much that can be achieved with those students over a given period of time, and so it makes it very difficult. And then what if you happen to be the teacher who gets all of the trouble students in your class, and the other teacher just lucked out and got all of the studious ones?
That's true. I mean, obviously good teachers are paramount, but there's so many other factors that we just touched on. All right, let's get to what you're saying right now. Tim Jackson says, this is great and all, however, attitudes towards teachers must change in order for this to work well. The current culture of the classroom is one of disrespect and negativity.
Lori Murphy writes, I would love to see Arizona do this. A select few teachers are just there to collect a paycheck.
Nick James writes, how are special education teachers paid? This idea, while intriguing in its simpleness is too broad and actually unfair to the teachers.
Lori Hughes writes, absolutely a great idea. The quality of teachers has declined drastically over the last decade. My kids have had teachers that are not qualified.
I got to read this post from Fern Shuya. Very interesting perspective here. He says, pretty good idea. What I find interesting, though, is that they came up with this idea for an already underpaid profession like teaching, when this would be an amazing idea for overpaid professions like medical. Doctors get paid way too much money for seeing you for 5 minutes and not diagnosing you correctly or at all in some cases. We should start there.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be apples to apples. It certainly can't be apples to oranges. And the districts have to be balanced in that way, or you will have a discrepancy when it comes to who's getting what.
Let me read one more comment, just because it brings up a kind of interesting offset to this. Zoe says, no, because some teachers will hold some students back that aren't supposed to be held back so they can make more money. Never thought of that. That's an interesting argument there.